Hello and welcome to this special edition of What Went Down. I'm Craig, aka Mr. Impact Blog from the TNIW channel, and I'm once again joined by the co-host of the Talking Nonsense by Impact Wrestling podcast. It's Geoff.
Hey, I'm here. I'm blurry, but I'm here.
Yeah, poor Wi-Fi.
I mean, yeah, we'll eventually invest in it. I mean, it's hard the connection from across the pond there, so it is what
Yeah,
it is, right?
yeah. So, past 2 weeks, Impact have brought us special episodes of Emergence Night 1 and 2. Obviously, we didn't do a review last week. We thought we'd merge it all together for you to one convenient place.
Yep, and same with the power rankings that you'll see at the end, as well as the tweets that we took some of our favorites and we'll post at the end as well. So a lot to talk about. We slimmed it down a little bit and kind of put things together, so we're not here talking for 3 hours, but it'll be a fun talk nonetheless. So I guess we'll go right into it, yeah?
Yeah, a lot to talk about, so let's get straight into it. Starting with Night 1. The opening contest for the X Division Championship. TJP versus Chris Bay versus Rohit Raju, and we have a new X Division champion.
Yeah, it's funny when you said that. I was like, oh, was that really first? Like 2 weeks ago, there's just so much content that and exciting stuff that happened that I didn't even know that was the wow. Yeah, so that's how action packed it was. It was the right way to start off a pay-per-view in the sense of not only was it a pretty fun match, very. It's weird because although all those guys are X Division, what I like is they all have their own vibe or own moveset that's just not, is very different than the next. Especially TJP, who always is putting on a clinic at all times. The ending, I'll jump right to that. I've been a supporter of Rohit from, no, you know what? I will say the jump, because even though I wasn't a huge fan of the Desi Hit Squad pairing originally, he stuck out. He shined, and I'm glad that he got his opportunity. I looked up. You were right. He's deceivingly old in the sense that he's 40 years old. So I did not know that. Good for him. But I'm happy that the success came from him in his wrestling career, because that's a big deal, and you could tell it was a big deal for him. And it's really cool to see people, although a heel and braggadocious and whatever, it was cool to see the title change. I wasn't expecting it. At the same time, you wonder, although the storyline was great and the turn was great, where does this leave Bay? And we have yet to find that out. So alarmed there.
Yeah, I mean, I was completely surprised that Rohit won it. Was not expecting it in the slightest. But I'm there with the fact that I'm happy for him, because he's finally done it. He's always been someone whenever there will be a post who's most underrated wrestler in Impact, Rohit would always be on that list. And he's proven that he was severely underrated. His promo work is on fire. His in-ring style is incredible. And now he's finally won that X Division championship.
Yeah, it's a culmination of his years of being there. I think he's been wrestling since 2008 is what he said, or I think it said, or 2006, somewhere around there. So for him to have this success, later in his career, but newer for us as we're not too familiar, it's really cool. And you said it yourself, his wrestling ability is great. There's no age there, because probably he hasn't been on a full-time schedule like the guys of WWE and former Impact and whatever else. So I hope we get to see him for quite a long while. I don't know, but with the belt, he did mention kind of the same thing Eddie mentioned about, giving everyone a shot and stuff. I don't know. We'll see how how he continues that. It probably knowing him, or his character, it's going to be lesser guys that never got a shot, like the Norv Furnhams or whatever their names are.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Throwback. But I'm excited to see where it plays. I'm nervous about Bay, and I'm excited to see anything TJP does from here on out, because all three of them put on a great match, and it was a good starter.
Yeah. So, yeah, congratulations to the new X Division champion.
Yeah, for sure.
So now we're going on. We're going to merge these together, but talk about the matches individually.
Right.
Wrestle House. Past 2 weeks. Been a lot going on. And
we're fearful it's going to end.
Right.
And I know some people were excited about that. Once again, I think anything you can do to stand out and be different and be entertaining is a plus, especially in a variety show. Because unfortunately, just wrestling isn't a selling point anymore, as far as to the masses, right? So having something like this really breaks up the monotony of just, I'm angry at you, you have my belt, so there's something different here that I really enjoyed. Did it always hit? No, some of it's corny, but some of it is intentionally corny and hits the spots, so it's going to be interesting, because all of those people who are getting camera time are now going to go back to just being, well, what's not, I won't assume. Well, just one step at a time. I'll say what we saw was good. Of course, once again, just like the Bay thing in the last topic there, I'm nervous to see what happens from here. The match we got was Kylie versus Taya, which is a dream match in the sense of I don't know or have seen myself them wrestle each other. But when you have that happen, it was a solid little match, but like we said in the previews, it's going to be a Wrestle House match. And, I would love to see them fully go and do what they can do in the real ring. Other than that, it's been enjoyable. It's been an enjoyable ride. I enjoyed what I saw. Am I missing someone else? Was there another match in there?
Yes, from this week, a blindfold match between Crazy Steve and Johnny Swinger. But I think we can let that one slide a little bit, but
yeah, it was an interesting one, right? Once again, these matches aren't supposed to be 5-star matches. Take them for what they're worth. They're to be the resolve to a squabble, and served its purpose. That's all.
I noticed we're saying that a lot. Does its purpose, served its purpose, did the job.
Yeah, that's its purpose.
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of Wrestle House. I like corny stuff like that. I get it. It's, like we say, it's not for everyone, but I like the fact people who, like you said, aren't getting that much TV time are getting TV time. We're seeing just what they're capable of as a character. Maybe not so much as their in-ring stuff, but we knew what most of them were like in the in-ring anyway. These are the ones who don't get that much TV time and are able to speak, like Alicia.
Yes.
Who for me is one of the standouts in Wrestle House right now.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I would say going into that, she was an enhancement talent, and that's no disrespect. It just is that's how they used her. But not only did she get new ring gear, which we were excited about before she went into Wrestle House, then she went into Wrestle House and kind of shined. And they made she's a great asset to Impact now, or I feel so. Maybe she always was, and we just didn't get a chance to see, which is more likely the case. Another one, Larry D. We would have not gotten a Larry D on his own anything or character development besides being two big guys who like to eat. But are trying to lose weight. I don't know. But it's really good to see these little things that gave Lawrence D a chance to shine. And then turn, from Stefan Urkel to back to Steve Urkel, as cousin Jake pointed out. So, I agree with you there. I think we're on the same page. It's not going to be 5-star matches, but it's going to be a platform. And how do you replicate that elsewhere if it does go away? So it still has my interest. I don't think that's going to go away because there's more hits than misses on it.
Right. Yeah, completely agree with that. 'Cause, I mean, with the Alicia Edwards thing, I know from what I've seen from people talking to her on Twitter and from little stories I've heard, that she's quite a big, I won't say character, but in the knockouts locker room, she's someone who the others go to to talk to and had advice from.
Speaker. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and she's the real LRL. She's the real RL.
So I'm glad we get to see her finally have a character, not just be Eddie's wife.
Right. Or go out and job for 30 seconds and be feisty and then lose. So.
Or be kendo stick.
Okay, well, yes, yeah, that was good though. Thumbs up, though. Obviously. Yeah, that's our thing, right? We're learning.
Then it's not. I want to mention it for the one little line in it, but the Good Brothers promo before their match with Ace and Fulton, it was Doc saying, "Tonight you're gonna be famous."
Yeah, we're gonna make you famous.
I love those lines.
Yeah, that's obviously an Undertaker line that he's now adapting or adopting, I guess. Yeah, they're money. There's not much to talk about.
Good Brothers. What's not to like? So then the TNA World Championship, Moose versus Trey. Great match, but the aftermath was something a little more.
Yeah, a little more exciting, and I guess we're bunching it together so we could talk about EC3's promo as well. With Trey, I know you mentioned you don't think he could be champion, and unfortunately, I don't see it, not permanently, but right now either. And I don't think that's the point. I don't think Impact is trying to push him as champion material. I think they're just trying to give him something to do and elevate him slightly apart from the Rascals. Now, is he ready for that? I don't think so. I mean, you could only do the underdog and Josh telling, the same story of he's a guy who's knows he's going to get beat. He knows he's going to get beat up and, whatever. We get it. Fun little match. Big guy, little guy, same spots they do, which I love, the guardrail stuff and outside things. And, Moose has really come into his own. I'm waiting for Trey to get there, but he's wicked young. So it's going to be a hot second. But as far as the aftermath, it's funny because I was watching with Kristen and I'm like, oh, EC3 is going to come out. But even though it's predictable, it's still exciting. They don't, you know what I mean? It's not the typical dramatic one where, they pan the camera and act like he, he's coming down the road. It's out of nowhere. He does his thing. And this time he stole the belt. Now, we obviously have the benefit of talking about both nights. So he obviously told us why he was. Interested to see what that means. Especially since he'll be going elsewhere. Regardless of him choosing to go elsewhere or wherever this leads, though, I still think it's cool that he put over the belt that much.
Yeah.
I wish he would. I don't think he mentioned it, but I wish he would mention that he needs to be an EC 3-time champion of TNA, because he's only won twice, to fulfill that destiny. Then throw it away. But maybe that's where we're going with this. I don't really know where we're going, but. I'll listen to EC3 talk for hours.
Yeah, I'm there. I mean, Trey, there's no doubt Trey is a special talent. I hope they can prove me wrong and Trey can be a world champion. But it's something that I just can't see. But yeah, see, Moose is fantastic. No matter, he's so much. He gets better every single time.
Yeah. Yep, that's fair.
And of course, moving on to EC3. Wow, just wow. From stealing the belt, I didn't see coming. Even though I never thought that, he'd steal the belt. I thought they'd have a match and he'd win the belt. But no, I think it's brilliant. And the promo from night 2, again, wow.
Yeah.
Everything in that was just perfect. I was worried that when he stole the belt, that it was going to be a Rhino Bunny ECW world title thing. I was slightly worried, but I
don't think destroying it that's where we're headed. I don't. When he says destroy, I don't think if he wanted just to burn it, he would have burned it. But maybe I don't know. That's the good thing is about this. As much as I am I would say a control freak in the sense of I must know. I like to work it out in my head. I have a feeling where it's going on these things, but I kind of need to step back and enjoy it that we don't know if he's going to be around for long. We don't know if he's going to burn the belt, go defend it elsewhere, crap. We don't know what he's going to do. And I think that anytime you can have that in wrestling, it's a very interesting and bright spot for the show. But I have to just enjoy it without thinking of those extra things. And that's hard. But
yeah, we don't know, we seem to know where he's going, but we don't know what that means for the belt, if he still has the belt even at this point. But I agree, you've got to enjoy it for what it is and not try and overthink too much. So, thumbs up, all from the entire whole thing.
The whole entire, we won't even do thumbs. We're just thumbs.
Yeah.
It's editing time.
So something that's been going on for the past 2 weeks, not a major storyline, but it's a thing. I'm not sure, but Hernandez, Reno Scum, Rhino, and now Heath. Little things backstage. Good.
Yeah.
It keeps them on TV.
Here's where I'm torn. And this will be I think there's one other one that I want to mention that I obviously am passionate about in a negative way. We came in and we've talked about this on the Talking Nonsense podcast. We talked about it since day one of the show. Heath was one of the people I was least looking forward to see come over. He surprised me and you rather quickly because it felt like, the continuity is there as he is the same guy from WWE. He's not saying, "Oh, I hate WWE. I'm now, whatever, insert name here." He's making a little joke of it and just trying to get hired. And I dig that. I don't know how long these go on though, and how they'll change our point of view of him. I'm losing faith that he's not going to be someone different than what he was in WWE, because obviously he's doing the comedy thing, which if you take it for what it is funny and fun and different. Obviously American politics and sports are taking up Twitter during him trying to do it. So he's not getting very far. But with that being said, they're enjoyable little pieces. It just is putting him more in that pocket and in that box of being Heath Slater, not Heath whoever, Miller or whatever he was going to be. But I like the fact that we saw the Rhino thing coming just because it fits, it makes sense. Could it still lead to something else? Yeah, there's a lot of questions. We saw him and Rhino interact once, twice, maybe once.
Once. Some anniversary.
Rhino had the promo as well, which was cool. Because I like anytime they do it. Rhino's very easy to shoot a promo. Turn it sideways, the camera, put him in front of a metal grate, and just spray water on him. That's Rhino all the time for 20 years. and it's solid. It's entertaining. So, um, it's I don't know. Where are you on the same boat, or are you still optimism for Heath? Have optimism.
Yeah, I'm there. I think obviously this is mainly about getting the team of Heath and Rhino back together for me because I enjoyed what they did. But I like the fact they've got them. They can keep them on TV and have a storyline going.
Yeah.
So I like it. It was, and I'm getting less and less worried each week that it is the same Heath from the WWE.
Yeah.
I'm getting less and less worried. So
once again, it's time will tell, and we just need to hope and just watch and see it develop. It is hard to do that, but from an entertainment standpoint, I like these. I look forward to honestly to these little Hernandez and not a big fan of Reno Scum, but to see that interaction and then the one with Rhino, how it all played out, because these are 30-second clips at some points, not even, and they're pushing a storyline through weeks, not couple weeks, not a few, like we're all headed towards a month or months, excuse me. So kudos to them for that and for the storytelling. But I'm there with you. That slippery slope of what Heath will become is what scares me. So
yeah. So then, what started off as a interview segment with Willie Mack, then turned to an interview segment with Brian Myers, which then led to a match from this week's night 2. Obviously, we talked about this a lot, but any little thoughts?
Here's what I'll do. If you guys want to know how we feel about the shoot part of it and that little backstage segment, talking nonsense about Impact Wrestling podcast, episode 20, we extensively go over that and passionately do so. So we'll skip that part. What I will talk about is Brian Myers in general and what he's doing. I still don't have a grasp for how he's the most professional wrestler. I looked back and actually one thing I didn't mention, so I will talk about this really quick, is that, or bring up this point, is that he says, all these years, what has it got me? I said what I felt about that. But he said he's finally coming to, you're going to finally see who I am. I'm ready to put my whatever. Bro's 36 years old. It took you 18 years to realize that you need to put your foot down and step up. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. But as far as him going out in wrestling, it was a fair match. It was fun. It was a good little match. Willie is Willie, and I enjoyed that. I'll flip to that switch really quick. Willie didn't come out as happy-go-lucky Willie, and rightfully so. He got attacked, but you could see more so that they were toning down his face mannerisms. And then he lost, and he surprisingly lost. And as we talked about in the preview show, this is where I hope it was going. If Brian Myers lost again, he's 100% back to being Kirk Hawkins for me. So he needed to win. The only way for me that Willie could lose was this. If the losing matters, it's not a wash away. Not next week he's back in the title scene. It needs to continue so the evolution of Willie can happen. Will we get that? Time will tell. But for that little reason, if we were doing the thumbs up throughout the whole show, it would still be a thumbs up for me. The talking point, not so much, but the match itself and how that occurred, I'm okay with.
Yeah, like we said, we went into the shoot promo,
Yeah.
the bad part of TNA thing, but yeah, I enjoyed the match. I was thinking throughout how on earth they're gonna make this work, because neither can lose, but someone has to. And if they're going the way that we think they're going with Willie, that was the right way to do it.
Yeah. And the good thing about Impact Management is there tends not to be 50-50 booking. as we're accustomed to in other companies. Or a continuous loss and have a losing record. They are pretty good about making the wins and losses mean something or be brought up later. So I'm gonna stick with my guns there and hope for the best. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. Then tag team action. The Good Brothers defeat Ace Austin and Madman Fulton. Oh, do we include the locker room talk, or should we just keep that for another?
No, let's include that. You're speaking of the Rascals and that one.
Yeah.
And Madman and Ace. Okay. Once again, I like what Madman and Ace are doing. I like the continuation of their anger with the Good Brothers because once again, that loss needs to matter to somebody. The Good Brothers easily could to beat every tag team and it not mean anything. But just as much the losses for Ace and Fulton need to mean something. And it seems to be the drive for them to continue, getting better or whatever it is. Or sticking with their feud or potential feud. The one thing I didn't like about that locker room talk was, now I'm jumping, different points of the shows here, different episodes even. Didn't the Rascals get their ass beat by the Good Brothers, right?
Yeah. Well, they got thrown out the ring. I think Suicide was one that got his ass kicked more.
Okay, fair enough. But they still got, I think, clothesline or big booted or something. But I would imagine that marijuana is not a cure-all. And if you got your ass beat by a tag team, I wouldn't go on a talk show the next day or whatever they want to say time frame this is and not be mad at the Good Brothers. That was weird to me. I didn't like that. And maybe it was filmed out of order or something, but I didn't like that. But as far as the Good Brothers versus Madman and Ace, I thought it was an enjoyable match. I think they're evenly matched in the sense of big guy, worker. But I think it might have went on a little too long for my liking as far as how there wasn't much more to tell. If it was going to be a straight up match like it was, there had some spots, but I thought it was good nonetheless. I don't want to take anything away from it. I always like going back and watching the matches just to, see how I feel not live about it. And I'll talk more about it with the Jordan and Deanna match. But I like what they did in style of booking with Big Man. It was a really cool moment to see, like, okay, Luke or Doc is a legit badass, and then Madman is trying to step up to that plate. And I enjoyed that a lot. So it's hard not to like anytime these four are involved in anything. So I would have gave it a thumbs up as well. But one of those matches that I think could have done a little bit more or booked a little bit differently. But that's just my opinion.
See, I think for me, now I think about it, yeah, maybe that match was a little bit longer than it should have been given. But I wasn't. My thinking was like, holy shit, I'm watching the Good Brothers on Impact. Like,
Fair
they
enough.
could go hours and hours, and I'd be like, that's the Good Brothers, and they're at Impact friggin' wrestling. What is going on?
All right, fair enough. Maybe if they had, we knew their characters a little better in the sense of are they good or bad? Like all this stuff that's going around with them storyline wise, and then their gear. Like if everything was presented a little bit differently, I would just focus on that. But right now it's kind of in limbo. But I'm there with you. You're right. I should appreciate that. What about the match? Did you like the matchup? Like, would you like to see them again, or?
Yeah, I could definitely watch them again. But I do have to say that Locker Room Talk is probably this week was probably my favorite episode they've done.
Yeah.
This week's Locker Room Talk, it's the perfect mix because the Treehouse meets Locker Room Talk.
Yeah. See,
Two
as a
completely
whole,
different things, but
yeah, for sure. As a whole, I like Locker Room Talk. I think it serves a wonderful purpose. It's another platform for guys to get over that don't get the opportunity. I saw a lot of people say that Madison is a Karen, which is interesting. She likes snacks, but not Treehouse. So I enjoyed all of that. It was just that little part. It's just that little part that I didn't like. But it did have me laughing, like Des getting out of the couch, like just slithering down.
Just wow, the Rascals and Madison's it's perfect. Shouldn't work, but it really, really does.
I love her.
So then the main event of night one. Motor City Machine Guns defending their Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Championships against the former champions and the longest reigning tag team champions in history, the North. Oh.
So I half expected them to win him back. And not so much because of, we won't get into the Ethan and free agency stuff, potential free agency. But we don't know the Motor City Machine Guns contract either. So to me, like, it was too good to be true, just like you said, the Good Brothers, that Motor City was only going to be there for that title win and then move on. So I was excited to see them retain. I was pleasantly surprised. These four I could watch wrestle week in, week out. Now, I think they could tell a different story with every match as well, as their first match was way different than this match. And I don't think it was a step below their last match in which Motor City won. But it wasn't as good. But as far as would I say that was a good match? Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And the four of them are the tag team division right now. Do other people step into that? I'm interested in seeing where the North go from here. But just the match itself, it was enjoyable. It was good. But I just feel like next time we see them wrestle, it's going to be a completely different match from the last one and the one before that. And it'll be a different style. So there's just so much offense that both of them have that I think we could see a new match from them each time we see them. And I'm looking forward to that. Do we get a beer money versus Motor City best of 7 or whatever that was a 5 or 7 back in the day? That was a good time. Could we see that with the North in Motor City? I'd be happy with that. Didn't we get it with Eddie and somebody, right? Recently? Best of...
Yeah.
Elgin. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The original intro to the show.
Yeah. Only a handful of people have seen that intro. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you follow me, you know how much of a huge North fan I am. I think they're one of, if not the best tag team to date, in my opinion. Yeah, in all companies. So, but in terms of storyline sense, I wasn't expecting them to win them back, because if they'd have won them back, I would have been, I wouldn't say annoyed, but the booking would have made no sense.
Short-term booking. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that the Machine Guns retained. As a fan, a pure fan, and not going into any detail, I would have loved to see the North get titles back. But without trying to sound too much like a smark, I'm glad the booking makes sense. I'm glad Machine Guns look like they're here to stay for a little bit longer than some people may have thought. But just a quick caveat on the contract thing. As we were talking about 5 minutes ago, Alex Shelley tweeted that he loves Impact, he loves Ring of Honor, he appreciates NXT, and something like, what's a contract? So I'm guessing they're not fully contracted. Well, Shelley isn't.
I don't think Shelley is. He put out the thing about helping Kushida and get on television, NXT, like, oh yeah, I'll be there, brother, if you need me. So yeah, I think he's a free agent, and I think that fits his personality. But obviously Saban is a homer. He's going to be there. So we'll see where that plays out. But as far as their feud, I hope it's not over, because I think they have a lot more to offer than what we saw here. Not meaning that was bad. I'm excited to see more that they offer.
Yeah. See, I'm the opposite. I think it's over.
What do you mean?
Feud. I think it's over because they've had titles change hands. They've had the rematch. The North, Ethan Page especially seems to be in a different place. I don't see. I don't feel a need for it to carry on.
I just like the idea of two talents with no story. They don't have to have storyline. Just two entities just fighting on the regular. Best of sevens. I love those because you get to see the chemistry. But I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Then, even though we've been discussing night 2 from the beginning, we'll go officially to night 2. And we'll start off with the Impact Wrestling World Championship Open Challenge. Eddie Edwards versus Mr. Opponent was accepted by Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, it's funny because we thought if it was going to be a talent that was there, it would be EY. We obviously get to see that at night 1 of the new tapings, essentially. So maybe something big happens. But as far as this, I speculated quite a few people, which I think we have a chance of still seeing some of them. We'll see at the tapings. But if it had to be anyone on the Impact roster besides EY, I'm glad it was RVD. Because not only does that continue the story of Sammy getting his, or getting, beat up by RVD first, and then having his match. There's a play to that. So RVD was looking over his shoulder the match. Katie, anytime you get Katie on the screen, it's just money. So I was excited to see her. I don't expect RVD to go out there and have any 5-star matches anymore, but I think Eddie, and him had some good chemistry. It was a fun little match with some storylines continuing. If you take it for that, it is what it is. It served its purpose. But this is where that question you asked us on the podcast comes into play. Do I think the title is being diminished, being defended each week in whatever? No, because I still say no, because I think the outcome will be the story of Eddie being a fighting champion, so his body's beat up, so he loses his title sooner rather than later. But at the same time, is it getting old, it being, fought for first on the card every so often? That part is starting to get to me a little bit. Yes, I understand the narrative of no one else will do this. Well, there's a reason. And if you do it every time, that's where we have a problem. You sprinkle it in there once a month, every couple months, that's good. But that's the only thing that irked me with it. I was happy to get RVD on the screen because that pairing is wonderful. But nothing to write home about. Right?
Nah. Yeah, I'm there. Like, when RVD's music hit, even though at first I didn't recognize the music because I still forgot he's got that crappy new theme. But
it fits his character. It's supposed to be, they're partiers.
But yeah, I was like, oh shit, okay, fair enough. Because I believe that was RVD's first match back. I think he's had a match since the thing we won't mention. Yeah, I obviously wasn't expecting RV to win. Glad he didn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Yes.
Very, very glad he didn't.
He should be a special attraction, and that's what he is.
Yeah, I did like seeing the Van Daminator from the apron to the barrier. Is it Van Daminator or is it Van Terminator? One or the
Uh,
other.
the Van Terminator, I believe, is the one from Post to Post.
Yeah, with the steel chair. Yes.
Yeah,
So Van Daminator then.
I think. I don't know.
Yes,
I think it might just be a
something.
spinning kick. Yeah, whatever. Van
One of
something.
RV's many.
Yeah.
One of his many. But obviously, I think the biggest talking point from that match feud is the whole thing with Eric Young, which we'll see the official match next week.
Yep.
But I liked the little brawl. I liked Scott D'Amore getting knocked over. I think that was a good thing to add in. But
I here's what I see happening. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but we're not doing a preview until we don't do previews unless it's a special event. So we're gonna be talking about this after it airs. The next time we talk about it. I can see if I don't know if they're gonna drag it out because once again we don't know what happens with Ethan Page, but I can see Eric winning this match coming up. And I wouldn't have said that until Scott D'Amore got pushed over. And then they mentioned Scott D'Amore getting pushed over. Because it seems to me that they keep saying, oh, the plan's coming together slowly throughout the months, and then the North and then Eric Young and the North have matching gear. I think we're gonna get Team Canada. Now, if that's just Eric and the North in Scott, maybe. Could I see Taya thrown in there after she loses it all at Wrestle House? Maybe. So I think it's the culmination of a lot of possibilities. So that's this Eric Young thing is really exciting to me, especially him doing promos. Now, Eric Young's first run, I won't get into all that. I wasn't a big fan when he won it the way he did when he was his first run here. But this doesn't bother me because they're showcasing him in such a way where he is a full-fledged out character. He knows who he is, what he should be doing, and they know what that character should accomplish or not. And he's part of the Bound for Glory promo, so the odds are he's probably champion. But as far as seeing him pop on the screen, just like EC3, and just like the Good Brothers, give me 1 minute of them, and I'm cool with that. You give me 15 minutes, I'm excited too. So very happy to see Eric Young come out after that, and I'm excited for them. I guess we can include the Sammy thing here. I'm excited to see Sammy behind a camera again and his little hideout or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Doing that promo. So it was good all around for continuing storylines.
yeah, see now you've literally just said it. I didn't put those pieces together with the North, EY, and Taya, and Scott now.
Yeah.
But that does make some sense.
If they all lose, they have nothing left.
Picture it. Oh, wow.
Well, who knows?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, but that's the pieces are slowly falling into place. Slowly, but they may go somewhere completely different. But
yeah.
That does make some kind of sense.
I agree.
Yeah, match next week should be good. Hoping it's good. But it's Eddie and EY, so
they're both great workers, and we're going to get a good.
Exactly. So now I'm looking down my list, and we're pretty much covered everything, but the main event of night 2, the Impact Knockouts Championship on the line in a 30-minute Iron Man match. Deonna Purrazzo versus Jordynne Grace. Wow.
So it was, man. First of all, I want to make a mention of the live tweet I put out there about missing that style of wrestling. I think we've gotten so far away from, well, I don't want to say artists because it's messed up to say that the old school of wrestling is they're artists, but the new ones are, spot monkeys or whatever you want to call them, whatever people say. Because there does take some kind of creativity to be a spot monkey as well and put those spots in and make, and put on a match. So they're athletic and artists in their own right, but there's just something so beautiful when wrestlers, especially 2 knockouts, just paint the canvas, to use that phrase, pun intended, to paint the canvas so beautifully and use every inch of it and take their time with it and let us breathe. I do want to go back and watch it because, of course, the commercials will break the momentum. So I want to go back and watch it on the app when it goes up and see all the way through if it's very cohesive and stuff. But as far as, 2 or 3 different spots, I think it was really good. I didn't like the clock wasn't on the screen. I get why it wasn't probably on the big screen because the girl, obviously there's timing and stuff they have to figure out. It gave me what I want as far as pinfalls because it wasn't a, someone's up big, someone's up, I liked what happened there. I don't know if I like the ref bump. I get it. And I get you're protecting Jordan. But that was a little much for me. So, but besides, from bell to bell, besides that was a damn good match. I think the only expectations it might not have led up to or met were the ones we put in our head that this was going to be a 5-star for match that we get to see all 30 minutes. You got to take into consideration there's commercials and there's going to be breaks and there's going to be what it is. But as far as a match, man, I wrote a couple notes down as I was watching because I love that there was no falls during the break. I hate that shit. They come back and I love that Josh mentioned that. It made it important. Hey, there wasn't anything you missed. Here's a clip of what you did. That's important. And that was good storytelling. I love that Jordan was covering up and trying to defend, like on the ground, trying to save herself during these beatings. A lot in wrestling today, they get knocked down, they get back up, they knock down, they get back up. This is someone who's tired and beat up and is at a part of the match where she's trying to protect herself. And she's getting just little things like that these girls did, man. The spot where she stomps on the elbow when she puts the hand, Deanna, just good stuff, man. Just really good stuff. They have great chemistry. I would love to see this at a pay-per-view where they can just uninterrupted get what they need. If it's last knockout standing would be dope for them. I think that's the next step because Jordan didn't look soft here. It wasn't Jordan lost twice in a row. She looked like, she got screwed a little bit, but Deanna still held her own. The one thing I did want to point out to you though that I wrote down is I love that in the beginning they talked about their Madison talked about both of them having really nice ring gear. And then saying that, oh wait, they kind of look similar. They could be a tag team one day, maybe. I was like, oh my god, that's what I was hoping for. You can't have that much chemistry and not be together eventually. So I hope we get that. But it didn't disappoint me. I was really excited about it. The only little hiccup I would say would be that the ref bump because I'm not a big fan of him getting he's out of breath and then he's out of how long is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the match was insanely good. It for me, it delivered on everything I built up. For me, I mean, I was thinking throughout the match that these two are around the same age as me. I think Jordan's 23 and Deanna is 24, 25. That's insane because most wrestlers don't start until they're 20. But they're so good and they haven't hit that. That is incredible.
Yeah. It's a rarity to have that. And it's funny, I always mention that back in the day, McMahon would crap on WCW for having stars that were older, and you look up their ages and what are they, 36 to 42, and ragging on these people. Yeah, some are more, but we need to create. Wrestling's about creating new stars and 22-year-olds and all this stuff. And then the moment that he can no longer create stars, then we use old guys and then say, oh, well, 22 is not ready yet. Well, I think 22 and that's not ready because, one, are they given the opportunity? Maybe you could debate that. Brass ring bullshit, you could debate that. But when you have talent that transcends the age limit, and I'm talking we have a crop of Ace, and eventually I think Trey, and Jordan and Deanna. Back then, he had The Rock and Austin, all these people that were young but ready to deliver. I think this is the first time in a long time that we're seeing that many young people at once get it. And I don't know if that's Impact. I don't know if it's, like you said with Lish, there's people backstage that are just being great mentors and teachers or booking. But we're in a renaissance, I feel, especially for the Knockouts division, of Impact Wrestling. From all of these young cats can go. All of the old guys can at least make a match that is entertaining. So we're never going to get a bad match, but to be that young and kill it and have that great of a match is just, I mean, they're not just going out there and kicking, they're and punching. There's storytelling and working the arm and working the back. Just come on, man. You can't. No bad things can be said about that.
No, I mean, I'll see because it's on TV. I was thinking that's what they can do with 30 minutes. What can they do if they had 60 minutes? The 60-minute I am a match. Holy shit! There's no doubt that, as you said, this Knockouts division is the best it's been for a long, long time.
Yeah,
and
from the bottom, top to bottom.
Those two are the crown jewel for this division right now.
Yeah,
what
I
else
agree.
needs to be said?
Would you be okay if this continued all the way to Bound for Glory?
Yes, but I don't think I wouldn't want to see one-on-one matches all the way to Bound for Glory.
No. The continuation of the story.
But I do think that it's going to be Deanna versus Tania at Bound for Glory.
I'm sure. What would you? Yes, you would. Because could you imagine these two girls at a pay-per-view with whatever time frame they're given, last man standing or something? Just ladder match. I want to see that these are the two that you can put on that next step of evolution in women's wrestling. You could put that weight on them and they could carry it. And that means, like, yeah, we've gotten great ladder matches or last man standing with Taryn and Gail and cage matches and such. But calling a spade and being honest, there still is that aura that they have to erase, that mindset of the wrestling, which is just men can do different things women can't.
Yeah.
I think these two knockouts can do anything, if not better, than a lot of the men. And give them the opportunity to keep doing it and stand back and just watch. Like, that's what we need to do. And I hope they give them the ball. We'll see.
Yeah. Completely agree. I will say, before there was an evolution, there were the knockouts.
There was Gale and Awesome and Kong, and it's been through a lot of variations. And it's hard for me as a TNA day oneer, but to say that from top to bottom, this is probably the best. No, I would say this is the best knockouts locker room combined. Like, everybody in there, from top to bottom, there's no squeaky wheels, man. If your enhancement talent is Lisha Edwards, Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Kudos to them, though. Great moment. I hope it continues.
Yes. Yeah. So, moment 2 weeks. Moment of the 2 weeks.
Oh, for me.
Moment from 2 weeks. Yeah.
Now that I look back on it, I was really hyped to see the Good Brothers come out and do their thing in the sense of like, it's cool. But as far as overall satisfaction, I would either go the bookends. I would either go the X Division or the Knockouts. And just solely on the first one, the match was great. I love watching TJP and Bay do their thing, but the Rohit swerve there was something you don't get often. And then the match at the end, the knockouts were just
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say anything else. Speechless.
No, I think whilst Diana versus Jordan was great, I think the bigger moment was for Rohit. So I think Rohit winning the Extreme Championship was my moment from 2 weeks. Even though it started it, that's my moment for 2 weeks.
Cool. We bookended it.
So that was what went down from Emergence Night 1 and 2. Plenty to talk about there. We have some of your thoughts, and they'll be coming up soon.
Yeah,
some of your thoughts on shows.
Yeah, we'll continuously do that. You've been putting out great questions on Twitter and a lot of responses we're getting. Really something to think about. And some think like us, some don't, but we want to share any of your guys' opinions. So if you please, put them up there. Right after this, obviously, we'll say goodbye and kick it to power rankings as well. So if you're interested in being part of our weekly power ranking committee, it literally takes 10 seconds a week, maybe a minute, depends how much thinking you do into it. You send it to us and that's it. So you'll see that. And this is for both nights of Emergence. So really interesting results there. Some first timers, which I'm really excited about. And then obviously, as Craig will wrap up here, go watch our other shows. Craig guest spotted on what went, or of course you guest spotted. I guest starred on what went down. You guest starred on the podcast. There we go. Been filming a lot of stuff. And then we also, on that episode, we revealed that we have a new show coming called This Old Wrestling Shit. And then it's an unboxing show that I think will have you guys pretty dumbfounded at the things TNA has put out that maybe some people don't know about.
So yeah, thank you all for tuning into what was longer, not as long as we thought it was going to be, but thank you for sticking around to the very end.
Yeah.
As mentioned earlier, you'll see some of your thoughts from Twitter appearing at the end of this, and then straight after that will be the power rankings. You can find us on Twitter at TNAIW Podcast. Me and Geoff will be around there somewhere. You can find episode 20 right here on YouTube. Hit subscribe so you don't miss out on this old wrestling shit.
Yes, it'll be big. It'll be fun.
Big surprises coming. Big plans coming.
Plans, yes, you say that.
Plans, yes. Do the thing, hit subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, or just tweet us your thoughts, whether it's about this show or any other show we do, or just about Impact in general. We'll definitely give you a shout out. So thank you to Power Rankings Committee, and just keep an eye on our socials for what's coming up. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.